And here comes a Star Wars film, and here comes Rey. And what is it? Is it Panic in the Streets? Oh my gosh, a female lead in a Star Wars movie. And then the trailer for Rogue One comes out, and it's another female lead. Oh my gosh, how unfair. We've had probably like 2 million straight film cinematic roles where men have been leads, and now we've done 2 in a row that are women. Well, too bad.
Has South Park and Enter the Panderverse claimed yet another victim? Is it possible that the Panderverse predicted or even accelerated the fall of Kathleen Kennedy? Well, now the entire Star Wars universe is essentially being placed in someone else's hands. I'll give you a second to leave a like on the video right there, because I think that's already amazing. We all know, Kathleen Kennedy and her put a chick in it, make it diverse and lame is something that hasn't worked. I think there was a time where it did work, but I do think that many in Hollywood were incorrectly attributing success of they put out a Star Wars movie, it made a bunch of money, so they're like, oh, it must be because we put a chick in it and made it lame. When in fact it was just because Star Wars is a big movie. So there was a lot of people that attributed the success of these movies to the likelihood or to the push, the diversity, equity, inclusion push, but it was never that. And now we know that Kathleen Kennedy, I'm guessing this is her unofficial firing. It comes right after the Panderverse release. By the way, brand coffee. I'm only gonna mention it once today. Our Black Friday sale rages on. 20% off site-wide, 10% off all holiday gift boxes, and 60% off your first month of Roaster's Choice. If you've ever been thinking about joining our premium monthly coffee club, Roaster's Choice, I'm telling you, it's absolutely amazing. You can see there's 211 reviews, nearly 5.5, nearly a perfect score. You get a different coffee every month. Here's Bolivia, San Juan, Rwanda, El Salvador, Honduras. Every month you get a different blend, and if you're a coffee head, it's never been cheaper to get in. Get 60% off your first month, and give it a try, because I think you're really gonna like it. Also, if you don't want Roaster's Choice, the rest of the site is also 20% off right now. Link in the description. Dave Filoni, promoted to Chief Creative Officer at Lucasfilm, will now work with Kathleen Kennedy at, quote, the inception phase on all future Star Wars projects. Well, Dave Filoni has done some good things. I think to ignore that would not be totally correct. But Dave Filoni has also put together some of the dumbest stuff that I've seen in the Star Wars universe, including the absurd, Ahsoka is going to be in everything now because he has some sort of weird obsession with Ahsoka. Dave Filoni, though, in a move that will surely, for real, 100% absolutely save the Star Wars brand, Lucasfilm has announced that they have officially tapped Star Wars Rebels and Ahsoka creator Dave Filoni to serve as the company's new chief creative officer. Essentially, Kathleen Kennedy is getting pushed aside. I think that's exactly what this is. You talk about, they're talking about, the inception phase. I'm pretty sure that means, at the very, very early part is, the very early part of all this. This promotion for the cowboy hat-clad director was first revealed by Filoni himself during a recent interview with Vanity Fair. Now, I'm what's called a creative chief creative officer at Lucasfilm, he told the interviewer. In the past, in a lot of projects I would be brought into, I would see it after it had already developed in good ways. In his new role, Filoni will now work directly alongside Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy and head of development Carrie Beck in shaping Star Wars' future, Filoni detailed. In this new role, it's opened up basically everything that's going on. Quote, when we're planning for the future of what we're doing now, I'm involved in the inception phase, he added. So essentially, this is a huge vote against Kathleen Kennedy's direction. This woman has, I mean, quite frankly, absolutely destroyed the Star Wars universe. You know, Disney put out some Star Wars movies and made some money on some of them. They did not make money on Solo, a Star Wars story. It was so bad that they had other Solo films related, like Lando, and they just canceled it altogether because they sucked so bad. Dave Filoni at least has some idea what the fandom was, and Disney has done some good things. For example, Rogue One, I think, was pretty good. It felt like a Star Wars movie. It didn't feel like, a lot of crowbarred wokeness. It was pretty good. Now, according to the interviewer, per this new arrangement, Kennedy will technically remain in charge of Lucasfilm overall. Beck will bear responsibility for recruiting new creatives on the Star Wars team, and Filoni will be tasked with offering narrative oversight on all future projects. Elaborating on his new position, Filoni noted, "I'm not telling people what to do, but I do feel I'm trying to help them tell the best story that they want to tell." When somebody says I'm not telling people what to do, that's exactly what they're doing. I need to be a help across the galaxy here, like a part of a Jedi Council almost. To truly help filmmakers, it was really important for me to experience it firsthand, he continued. I can also lend a perspective on the challenges that telling these stories will present. I feel more capable of actually being helpful outside of just saying, well, Jedis are like this and Sith are like that. Well, I'm not sure why you're hiring anybody who doesn't even know the absolute basics of it, but that's neither here nor there. However, just because Filoni has a whole new set of responsibilities doesn't mean he's abandoning his previous commitment to the planned Star Wars feature film. I'm setting up what seems to be a larger conflict with the Imperial Remnant. Filoni reaffirmed in his plans for the silver screen continuation of Ahsoka's story, which I don't care about Ahsoka very much. That conflict can't just be a mirror of what we've seen before. It has to take a different shape. It can't just be the Empire versus what looks like the Rebellions or even the Republic. It has to be visually different. I disagree with that. You know, there are 7 Star Wars movies leading up to this that were pretty much that people pretty much enjoyed. I mean, I don't really understand, again, this is like classic, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Unfortunately for Star Wars fans, Filoni's promotion to narrative overseer does not necessarily bode well for the franchise's future prospects, most notably due to his own flippant attitude towards respecting its well-known canon. Speaking to Screen Rant during Star Wars Celebration in London, Filoni opined, people get all these debates on what's canon and what's not, and sometimes just forget it's the special nature of a good story and creating great characters. Part of the fan debate in the past always used to be what's canon, what's not, because there was George, and we always knew George was the canon. I look at it very broadly and just say, there's a love of Star Wars because I knew George, I worked with him, none of us are going to be him, but we love the galaxy he created and are very much a product of growing up with it. So he doesn't care about canon. It could be meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Some people saying with all the fan backlash drops and box office numbers and declining streaming numbers, I'm surprised Kennedy is even still at the helm. That's the Disney way. Buy up everything and ruin it. Best of luck to Filoni, but Kennedy will still run Lucasfilm, which is the main problem. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't exactly go out there and say, Kathleen Kennedy's fired. Is this, South Park enter the Panderverse claiming another scalp? Yeah, I don't know if I could say all that. I do think it would be a very public, failure if they were to fire Kathleen Kennedy publicly. I think that will never happen. I think, I'm pretty sure what will really happen is they'll just let her contract expire and then she'll go have another project or something like that. Star Wars in a lot of ways, sadly, is kind of just dead. You can't just put out 10 different Star Wars products that are all mediocre. That's the problem. Disney killed Star Wars with mediocrity, not with necessarily things that were outright bad, because there were some things that were outright bad. But the problem is that Star Wars content used to be an event. And it used to only happen every couple of years. So even if it was mediocre, okay, or if it was only okay, people would still go see it because it was an event. It was something cool. There was a new Star Wars movie. But now I can turn on Disney Plus anytime I want, and I can watch Star Wars content. For a while there was a new Star Wars movie coming out, was it every year or every 2 years, basically? This is what Star Wars did with, or what Disney did with Marvel, except, it took a little bit longer. Once the product is not amazing anymore, there was a time, there was a run of in the MCU where you had great film after great film after great film. But now when you oversaturate the entire market and the product's mid, people just don't care anymore. People just, they're apathetic to it. It's like, there's a new Star Wars show. Like when Disney Plus first started and they announced The Mandalorian, let me ask, was anybody as excited for any Star Wars product after The Mandalorian? And I'm saying people liked The Mandalorian. No. So they roll out Clone Wars, they roll out Ahsoka, they roll out this, they roll out that. And it's just more stuff. It's just more Star Wars stuff. It's the primary argument that I make all the time about it's content. They view these streaming platforms like Netflix, Disney Plus, Peacock, Hulu, all this stuff. You need to feed the machine. So it's never about quality. It's about content. You're not producing movies. You're producing content. And that's all, ultimately, I think, at the root of this, why Star Wars continues to fail. And I don't think it will ever recover. I don't think that Star Wars can ever recover and ever be as looked at as with universal praise like it used to be. Just Disney, I'm not saying Disney can't find a way to make money with it, but what I am saying is that nobody gives a crap about Star Wars stuff anymore. They've trotted out every old hag. They've brought back, the bag of bones, Han Solo at 150 years old. They trotted out Mark Hamill again. They've got nothing left. Young Luke Skywalker, AI generated CGI. They've got nothing left. They could do a killer Vader origin story, maybe. But again, they've fired all their bullets. They spent all that money, and the original trilogy is the only thing anyone really cares about.